Welcome to Amateur Hour Chess, where your host is a solid 1800 rated player and by no means a master. So if you are rated higher than that, maybe move on to Hikaru's channel. Great coach. This video is about spotting weaknesses that you can eventually go after in your opponent's play. I happened to win this game with a couple of successful tactics that I played for, so we'll take a look at those. So we're just opening up, getting some pieces out. Okay, so as soon as my opponent does this, his back pawn is weak here. It's not necessarily a mistake, just something he has to look out for. I could get it to move if I go here and take. And also my queen has this potential line to his rook. So I'm going to choose to play for that. It's not just throwing all my pieces at a potential tactic. It's playing towards something with good play. So let's see if we can go after it. So first, I'm going to move my pawn up. If he takes, he's got 4 isolated pawns that I can clean up easily later. If he comes forward, which may be the best move, I can move my knight back with tempo on the pawn. He can protect that pawn, and then I can take this pawn here. I don't really see anything great he can do, and before you think, well, he can just protect the pawn again, that doesn't do anything because he can't move that pawn because my rook's going to be coming down, taking his rook. So let's see what he does. So the rook is still trapped. So if I were to open up this line, I'll get it. So let's play for that. Again, there are ways for him to defend it. So I'm playing toward it with solid development moves. This spot right here, this is a great outpost for my knight. He can't kick it. His pawn's blocked in, his knight's blocked in. So this is a pretty solid square. So regardless of whether he's going to defend against this attack or not, this is a good move. So you only want to sacrifice or put your pieces in a worse position temporarily if you're going to be getting something out of it. So otherwise, if it's defensible for him, then I'm just considering this strategic development play. So now he moved a little too fast there, I think, because he really did need to do something about this now. So I'm going to take here. Safe to say he should castle, so I'll just get a pawn out of it instead of a piece or a rook. All right, and he took back, so now there's nothing he can do. He can't move his knight here, or else I'll just take it. If this spot was somehow protected, then moving the knight there would protect his rook by the queen, and then I wouldn't gain any material. But I opened up this line. I have no pawns on this column, so I opened that up by taking that pawn. He can move one of these pieces here, but I've got 2 pieces on it, so I will just get that piece for free. It seems like that's what he's going to have to do if he doesn't want to lose the rook. So that's what he does. So I get a piece. And this is a really, really common thing that you'll see in a lot of games, is people opening up this line accidentally and not paying so much attention to how well you can exploit it. You could exploit it with a fianchetto. You could exploit it the way I did here. But if you play toward it, he's going to have to arrange his play where he's defending against it, kind of automatically putting himself in a more defensive position, even though he's white. So look for that line. It's very common. So let's see what happens next. He'll probably castle. So here's another tactic. As far as I can see, there's no way out of it. I'm noticing a couple of weaknesses. The lesson of today's video, look for the weaknesses that you can exploit. In this case, it's a tactic, a straight up tactic, so I'm going to gain material. In the last case, it was a line that I wanted to try to exploit, so I was going to play for it strategically. But here's the tactic. I'm going to take the bishop. He'll take the knight, then his knight is not protected, and this is only protected by 1 piece, his queen. So if I move my queen here, seems like there's nothing he can do to keep that pawn unless he loses the knight. Again, there are excellent players out there who might think of something else. I don't think there's a way out of that, though. So he'll protect his knight with a development move, and I will get the pawn. So look for tactics. He traded the queen. He probably didn't want to actually do that, especially when your queen's active and you're down. You want to keep as much play as possible. So anyway, let's fast forward to another opportunity. Okay, so whenever 2 rooks are spaced apart by one space like this, a knight in the correct position will fork them. So that's one thing you want to look at. So this video is about spotting weaknesses that you can go after. And it happens to be another weakness right here. There's a pawn here where if I took it, his king and rook would be forked. And so I happen to have a spot that I can go to threaten both of these at the same time. This one happens not to be a threat right now because his knight's defending that. So if I were to move here now, I would waste my opportunity because he could just defend this pawn and then I move there for nothing, which I don't want to do. I'm going to save it for later. So look at your opponent's weaknesses. Look for if a piece is hanging. This piece is hanging. But you don't want to just go after it like that, just right away. You want to look at if there's anything he can do to just immediately defend against it effectively. And in this case, he'd move his pawn up, and you just have to move your piece away, and you'd waste a move. So there's nothing that I can do right now to go after the knight, but I'm going to keep an eye on the fact that it is hanging, it's unprotected, and the fact that I can move my knight here or here to fork his pieces. All right, he's going to try to open up my center to expose my uncastled king. Not a bad idea. Ooh, okay. He took with the wrong piece. So he just unprotected this key square, and this key square is not protected either. So this is what you should do in your games. Look at it first, and then look at what is your opponent going to do after you do your move. So we're going to think about going here expecting to fork these two threats. So we're actually forking threats instead of pieces, which is a good thing to keep in mind. You can fork threats. It's still kind of a fork that he has to deal with. So what could he do from there? He could move his rook over, and then if I go here and check his king, it's not a fork because his rook's not there anymore, and I won't be able to go here because it's protected. So there's something he can do about it, but still might be a good move. I'm getting my rook my knight into the center, where knights like to be. They like to be in the center because they're short-range pieces. You can't just kick it immediately. He can threaten it. Then what? I can move my pawn up. I don't have to retreat it. So it's still a good developing move anyway. So I'm going to try it. It's a good developing move regardless. If it was a bad developing move and you're just hoping your opponent makes a mistake afterward, that's the wrong way to play it. But he happened to make a mistake, so there you go. I think there was only one move to defend against this threat. Here doesn't work because I still have the fork. Here doesn't work because I have this fork. He has to move this rook. Maybe if he moves there, that would work too. But he has to move this rook somewhere, and he didn't, so got the fork. So he's just going to delay the inevitable, and I get my piece, and the rest is all cleanup. So look for the forks. Look for the weaknesses, even if you can't exploit them right now. You can play for them. That's something that'll get your rating up. You'll start to beat players you didn't beat before, because you'll have something to play for. You'll have something to shoot for. That's strategy. Better strategy leads to, it opens up tactics. So hope you learned something.